Welcome aboard to the 5th round of the 1994 season, which is being held at Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona. This 4.7km circuit has only been a recent addition to the Formula 1 calendar, having been added onto the calendar in 1991. It has only hosted 3 races, but all 3 races itself has had different winners, those being Roberto Moreno in 91, Riccardo Patrese in 92, and Ayrton Senna in 1993. Let's see if there will be a repeat winner this time around. As always, we jump into the news has circulated the paddock ever since San Marino. We are still tied first in the drivers' battle, however instead of Patrese being the Williams driver tied with Senna, it's now Damon Hill after his first win in 1994. Hill said he feels very confident going into this weekend, and he wants to prove that he's a title threat today. However, after the numerous incidents in the San Marino Grand Prix, many drivers, mainly those being Martin Brundle and Karl Wendlinger, and maybe even Gianni Morbidelli, have expressed concerns over the safety of the cars. However, the FIA have firmly stated that they are not considering any changes to the cars as of right now. Finally, there are 2 teams that are currently considering swapping their current drivers out for some more pay drivers, those being of Simtek and Larousse. In the case of Simtek, they're probably looking to replace Roland Rattenberg with another pay driver, but whoever that driver may be remains to be determined. As for Larousse, we don't know what driver they're going to be taking out of if they want to bring a new driver into the squadron, so only time will tell as to which driver will get replaced. And with you now all caught up on the news, let's take a look at the upgrades that are coming in this weekend, and they are a pretty big bunch as you can see on the screen. Ferrari have an entirely new upgraded car, however it's only a minor upgrade, but it should still bring a good hefty performance upgrade for them. Same thing also goes for Pacific as well, and that could be huge to help them qualifying regularly more often. And finally, Simtek only managed to bring an upgraded body drag design, however it is a medium-sized upgrade, so that means they'll probably get a good amount of performance out of it. Last but not least, let's take on a hot lap around Barcelona. It's a very long start-finish straight here at Barcelona. You kind of want to set your gearings up just right to make sure that you have just enough top-end speed and just a little low-end speed for these first few corners. Breaking into turn 1 now, make sure to keep right a little bit so you can get a good line to turn 2. And also a long sweeping right hand around turn 3. Make sure to stick to the inside as far as you can, and once you've hit the middle point, start drifting slowly at left outside so you can get a good line into Repsol turn 4. After that, you just stick to the inside again, but this time exit wide late to get a good one into turn 5. Again, stick to the inside, you know, your apex, your out, in, outs, that all kind of stuff. Turn 6 is a quick flick there, we just passed it out. And here's turn 7 and 8, a very complicated corner sequence. Actually kind of messed up a little bit there, but all's well, didn't die or anything. Turn 9, we just passed through there. And here's a complicated corner of turn 10. We might see some misses here today, but let's hope they're not any big ones. Now down to turn 11, keep as wide out as you can. Good bit of runoff there just in case someone does indeed have a brake failure, then run wide a little bit but not too wide. Turn 12, pretty much just a very long hairpin which you can take in 3rd gear. Turn 13, a pretty much flat out right hander, and then turn 14, take a little bit of a braking into it, get the apex as best you can, and that is a lap of Barcelona. That lap time there was a 1:19.982. I'm not sure that'll be that fast on the grid, but we do have the qualifying results to look over, so let's jump to it. Qualifying definitely threw up some surprise results, but some things still remain the same, as you can tell. Williams lock out the front row with Damon Hill taking pole position ahead of Riccardo Patrese. Then Ayrton Senna lines up in 3rd, and then a surprise performance on John Alesi, he manages to qualify his Ferrari up in 4th place. Meanwhile, Martin Brundle is still the Benetton as well, he lines up in P5, and right behind him is Johnny Herbert in 6th place. There's Michael Schumacher there, he only managed 7th place in qualifying, and he's managed to qualify himself ahead of Gerhard Berger. Both Ligier's lock out row 5, Pan's beating his experienced teammate in Jyrki Yavaletov in 9th and 10th respectively. Then the first Jordan of Karl Wendlinger lines up 11th place, ahead of Mika Hakkinen in 12th place. And it is the first Sauber of Heinz-Harald Frentzen, who manages to out-qualify Hakkinen's teammate in Pedro Lamy. Next up is Roberto Moreno, Frenton's teammate, who lines up right behind him in 15th, followed by Rubens Barrichello, 16th in the Jordan. It's an entirely footwork row 9, Suzuki getting ahead of his teammate Fittipaldi there in 17th and 18th respectively. Mark Blundell qualifies 19th ahead of Gianni Morbidelli, the first Minardi Ferrari on the grid. Next up is Ukyo Katayama, followed closely behind by Christophe Bourchou, getting one loose on the grid. Followed behind them, on row 12, is Luca Badoa and Jerry Boutsen. And the last two people to make the race is Eric Bernard in the Peugeot and David Coulthard, who manages to qualify the Pacific Ilmor again, which means that once again, Philippe Alliot misses out on a Grand Prix, and he's joined once again by Gilles de Ferran, Jos Verstappen and Roland Ratzenberger for the non-qualifiers. Now, all that needs to be done is to light up the lights that you can't see on the screen and get this Grand Prix underway. The engine is now beginning to rise up, and we are getting ready to get this race underway. It's both of them get off to a good start as it looks like, as they head down towards the long straight now in towards turn 1. Will Damon Hill be able to defend himself from Riccardo Patrese? I believe he will. Meanwhile in the background, John Alesi up the inside of Ayrton Senna. He'll take third place away from him. It's a brilliant start for Ferrari. They haven't been in this high of position all season long, and now they're staring down at both the Williamses. Well, only one of the Ferraris, but you get the point. Meanwhile, Michael Schumacher diving up the inside of Martin Brundle. He'll take 5th place actually as he gets Johnny Herbert as well, and that relegates Martin Brundle down to 7th place. So it's been a bad start from him. Meanwhile, out front, Damon Hill leads the 1994 Spanish Grand Prix. On to lap 2 now, and we're looking at the back of Johnny Herbert. He might have to defend himself here from Martin Brundle. Brundle looking to the inside. Is he going to make the move, stick it to turn 1? Yes, he will. Herbert runs wide, and now Martin Brundle takes over 6th place in the Grand Prix now. Looking back towards the back markers now, David Coulthard has had an alright start. He's actually managed to get past one of the Peugeots there. I believe that might be, this Eric Bernard. It's been a good start for David Coulthard, but it's not been a good start at all for Eric Bernard. He's now out of the race with an engine failure yet again. Those Peugeots might not be as reliable as I first thought them to be back in Imola. Lap 5 now, and the top 5 are all within 2.5 seconds of each other. Looking back on the onboard of Damon Hill, you can't really see how close they are, but that camera angle there shows you how competitive it's gotten all of a sudden. Williams may just be in trouble. Meanwhile, lap 7 now, and look at this is a battle for P12 now. Moreno up the inside of Carl Wendinger, a little bit of a touch, but he makes the move stick, and Carl Wendinger now dropped down to P13. And look at this snarling pack. They're all battling for every position and every inch on the track, and that is really cool to see. Pedro Lamy up the inside of Carl Wendinger. He now takes P13 away from him. And everyone in here might well be underneath a second of each other. So that's Christian Fittipaldi now up to 16th. And now Aguri Suzuki looking to take P17 away from Heinz Frentzen. I nearly forgot his name there. And I think Aguri Suzuki will just about edge ahead, but Frentzen will look to the inside there of turn 7 and 8. But he's not going to be able to make the move stick. So Aguri Suzuki now up into 17th, and Heinz Frentzen losing a lot of places as he's fallen down to 18th place. There's pretty much action everywhere you look now. This is the battle now for P3. Ayrton Senna has actually caught up to the back of John Alesi in a couple of laps. He's now going to look to the inside of turn 1. Will he be able to make the move stick on John Alesi? A little bit of contact there actually, but Senna just about gets the move done. Oh! Williams on fire! Damon Hill! From the lead! Has blown up! What's happened? We're so focused on Senna, we didn't know what happened to him. The engine just blows up. Nothing Damon Hill could have even done there, and he's now out of the race from the lead. That pretty much changes the entire giant dynamic of this entire race, as Schumacher now pits in on lap 11. That should confirm to me that he's on a 3-stopper today. Let's see where he'll exit the pits, which we now come to now. He is going to come out in clean air, and he is in P10. So Schumacher now will have to push extra hard now to try and gain all the time he'll lose from this 3-stopper strategy. Meanwhile, lap 13, 2 laps later, John Alesi now into the pit lane. He's on probably a 2-stop, I'd imagine. Maybe also a 3-stop. Let's see where he'll come out on track. There he is exiting the pits. That's Lotus going by. And he's actually clear ahead of Michael Schumacher. John Alesi's in P8. How much time did Michael Schumacher lose in that pit stop alone? I didn't think it would be that much, but we'll see here as he just crossed the line. Nearly 20 seconds? I don't think that's quite right, you know, but oh well. I guess Schumacher's now going to make up that time as well to John Alesi. Right, let's take a breather on lap 14 and look at the race order on, well, lap 14. Riccardo Patrese took the lead out of Damon, who blew up, but Ayrton Senna has been keeping right on his heels ever since he took the lead from him, so a battle could be brewing up between these two. Meanwhile, at least he's still in 8th place. He needs to make up time to actually get back into the points. Same thing with Michael Schumacher, assuming he is indeed on a free stop. Only 24 cars still left in the running. Make that 23! John O'Lacey, I was just talking about him. He's now pulled over on the side of turn 3, I believe. And that's him out of the race. I think it might be a brake failure or something because he just lost the car on entry, and that means John O'Lacey is out. Olivier Panis is next up on Schumacher's hit list. He now dives up to the inside of them. Ooh, a bit of contact there from Schumacher there. I'm not sure if that impacted Panis or if that was an actual clean move-ish, but we'll take a replay of it now and see what happens. So Schumacher looks to the inside of Panis in turn 1. And I think Panis just turns in. I don't think he was expecting him to be that wide out, but yeah, I don't think, and I think it's just merely a racing deal between those two, so no penalty should be applied. So Schumacher there. Lap 21 now, and Ayrton Senna is all over the back of Riccardo Patrese now. Into turn 4, that's where he actually turning. He goes up the inside of him. He goes now. Actually, really be able to make the move stick as he exits turn 4. Not quite. Patrese still looks to the inside, but I think Senna, we're on the outside. He does able to make the move stick. Ayrton Senna now assumes the race lead on lap 21, and it's only going to be a short lead. Oh, and there's Aguri Suzuki there. I was about to go into another thing because Senna was about to pit on the next lap, but Aguri Suzuki is now out, and I am assuming that might also be a brake failure as well for him. So a lot of action going on around this track, let me tell you that. Back to the point I was trying to make before Aguri Suzuki interrupted me. It was only going to be a short lead because on lap 22, the very next lap, Ayrton Senna hits from the race lead. He's entering the pits right behind the Sauer. I believe that's his Hindsight Fenton, but that doesn't hold him up too much. He now exits the pits in P4. The Ferrari of Gerhard Berger will pit ahead of him, so that will become P3 on the next lap on lap 23. On to lap 29 now, and Riccardo Patrese is now pitted from the race lead. Where's Ayrton Senna? You can just about see him in the background there. Ayrton Senna now closing the gap between himself and Riccardo Patrese. Will be able to make the move to turn 1. Little bit of contact, but Senna does indeed take the place away from Riccardo Patrese, and he now assumes the provisional race lead. Johnny Herbert's now the only driver now who's left to pit. Lap 29 now, Martin Brundle's actually doing a very stellar job now. He's right in front of Michael Schumacher. He's been holding on to 4th place for a good while now, but that engine is sounding a little bit raw on revs. Is he having a gearbox failure? Yes, he is. Martin Brundle, who's having such a nice, calm and collected race, has had it all derailed due to a gearbox that is stuck in 5th gear. That's such a shame from him, but I suppose Michael Schumacher can be glad that for once he didn't suffer a mechanical failure for now. He now assumes 4th position. We are now just about halfway into this race, and Johnny Herbert, who was pulling off a one-stopper for McLaren today, is now into the pits. This will now give the race lead to Ayrton Senna, but Riccardo Patrese is all over behind him. He needs to make sure that he doesn't get held up behind this Ligier of, I believe it's Olivier Panis, and Riccardo Patrese is actually going to try and possibly make a move here. He darts out to the inside, takes Ayrton Senna by absolute surprise, and now Riccardo Patrese retakes the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix. What a brilliant move that was. Caught him absolutely unaware. Race order alert on lap 35. As you just saw there, Riccardo Patrese took the lead away from Ayrton Senna. Michael Schumacher is actually taking the last podium spot as it stands right now. I'm unsure if he has to do only 1 or 2 more stops, but Michael Schumacher is in a very favourable position right now. Looking on board of Ayrton Senna, you can kind of see that Riccardo Patrese has already pulled out a big gap between himself and Senna, so the battle for P1 might just be over for now, but we'll only have to wait and see. Currently, only 20 cars still remain on the track right now, so Ferrari is looking up as it stands right now. Lap 36, Gianni Morbidelli moves towards the back of the field now, looks for a move on Ukyo Katayama. He's able to make the move stick up the inside of turn 1. Gianni Morbidelli now up into 15th place. Looking on board from Riccardo Patrese, he's got a big gallery of lapped cars. He makes contact there, one of the I'm not sure what happened there, but one of the Ligier's cars might have been collect there from Caliber Tracy, and it's Yuki Yavaletto who's involved in that. That might not look that good. Looking at the replay, Patrici just goes for a gap that wasn't there, and oh, that could be a pretty bad accident. Hopefully Yuki Yavaletto will be okay from that, but lap 40 now. Cal Wendinger looks to be having a scheduled pit stop there. Looks to be a bit slow on pit entry. Oh, he's actually stuck in gear, so Cal Wendinger also out of the race with a gearbox failure. And Michael Schumacher again, right behind the person who suffers from gearbox failure. But nothing's failing him today. This is the battle for P4. Schumacher now looking to the inside of Alesi up to 10-11. Will he be able to make the move stick? Yes, he will. Michael Schumacher now takes 4th place back, and I'm assuming he's now probably going to the end on this set of fuel and tires. So he might just be in the conversation for a podium position here. Meanwhile, Riccardo Patrese, he might be a bit stuck behind the Pacific there, David Coulthard, and Senna will take advantage of that, goes up the inside using the Pacific backmark as a pick of sorts, and propels himself back into the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix. Patrese might be mad at Coulthard right now, but what he needs to do is to calm himself and get himself back into the focus of the race. As Ayrton Senna looks to be a little bit slow there after the exit of turn 6, I believe, and that gives Riccardo Patrese an opportunity to go up the inside of turn 7, and he will just about take the lead of the race right back from Ayrton Senna. There's a really back and forth race between these two drivers. But don't forget, because of the incident with Yuki Yavaletto, Patrese now has a 10-second time penalty, and that could prove crucial if he can't pull away from Ayrton Senna. One final look now at the race classification on lap 53. As stated earlier, it's Patrese and Senna in the first 2 positions. Johnny Herbert now is actually making it a McLaren double podium as it stands right now. Schumacher, I think, will not be able to do enough to be able to catch these 2 drivers. In other news, only 16 drivers are now left in the running. One of them is actually David Coulthard. He might be able to take the Pacific all the way to the checker flag, so that could be a huge achievement there for Pacific there. Only time will tell if he's actually able to make it to the checkered flag. We're now on lap 58, and the 2 Sauber teammates are right next to each other on track. Currently it's Frentzen ahead of Moreno, but will youth prevail over experience? We'll soon find out as they head into turn 1. Bartomeu looking to put up an inside move on Heinz-Harald Frentzen, and he's able to easily get the move done on Heinz-Harald Frentzen. And Roberto Moreno now takes the reins of the lead Sauber driver in this race. Lap 63, let's take a look at the gap between Riccardo Patrese and Ayrton Senna. There goes Patrese there. Senna looks to be just within the 10-second range, maybe even a bit more than that. And indeed he is. 2.4 seconds is pretty much the gap between these two, so unless anything else happens during this race, I think Ayrton Senna will have this race win in the bag. Riccardo Patrese, you can't really say he's had too much of a clean race this afternoon after that collision with Yuki Yavaletto. He'll come out the final turn now, he'll take the checker flag first, but because of the 10-second time penalty, he will not be able to keep the win. Instead, it goes the way of Ayrton Senna, who will now firmly take the lead of the Drivers' Championship. And the gap Ayrton Senna won by in the end was 5.6 seconds, a comfortable margin for Senna to take his, I think, 2nd win of the season. Johnny Herbert did indeed run off the podium, with Schumacher finishing his first race in 4th, and Paddock bringing a bright spot for Ligia, managed to score a single point for the team. Only 15 drivers managed to reach the end of the race. Unfortunately, David Coulthard could not make the end of the race in the end. He only managed 59 laps before the engine in his Pacific no more gave up the ghost. Right, shame for the Pacific team. They've actually done really well considering their upgrades and whatnot, but I suppose that's just the way that the Formula 1 world goes in sometimes. Plus, with Martin Brundle, Johnny Alesi and Damon Hill actually retiring, this does actually kind of shake up the driver standings, which we'll have a look at right now. And Ayrton Senna now has a 10-point lead in the Drivers' Championship over the 2 Williams drivers. Johnny Herbert still remains in 4th place, but Gerhard Berger with his 5th place result today jumps all the way up to 6th place, even managing to overtake his teammate John Alesi. And as of right now, 13 drivers have now scored points, the most recent of which actually being Michael Schumacher today with his 4th place finish. I'm sure he's relieved to finally not DNF from a race so far. As we now take a look at the team standings, there's still only 3 points separating the gap between Williams and McLaren, and Benetton are the first team other than Williams and McLaren to break through into double-digit points. And as always, there's still only 8 teams, but I'm sure they'll change as the season goes by. That'll do it for the 1994 Spanish Grand Prix. Next time up, we'll be at Monaco for the Monte Carlo Grand Prix. God help us all. Until then, goodbye.